Previously on Dream Team.
Did you have anything to do with Victoria Baptiste's disappearance?
Of course not.
We must proceed on the assumption that she will turn up to give evidence against you.
What have you been up to with my wife?
Jamie, it was a mistake.
So you have been at it?
You didn't give a stuff about me. You never have.
Audio. Our jet leaves at 5:30. Now get ready.
I don't jump when you say jump.
You do as long as I'm paying the bills.
He's my friend, Tash. He's my coach. I can never play for this club again.
I've told you 100 times. I wasn't there.
Your answers are not good enough. If I'm not convinced, how are you going to convince a jury?
All right, bruv. I've got a cheeseburger and hamburger. Which one do you want?
Nah, mate, I'll probably chuck it.
Fletch, you didn't do it.
Well, none of that seems to really matter now, does it?
But, mate, you've got to be strong. This is D-Day.
Today marks the beginning of one of the biggest trials in sporting history. Carl Fletcher, Harchester United's star striker, stands accused of killing former HUFC owner and controversial business magnate Prashant Dattani. Mr. Dattani was found battered to death moments after the Dragons fought their way into the Champions League for the first time in the club's history. Chief Executive Linda Block will be shuttling between courtroom and club today as the Dragons prepare for their third round UEFA Cup game against Parma.
What are you doing, Linda? The Carl Fletcher I know couldn't kill anyone.
Is he going tomorrow to Italy with the rest of the squad?
Well, that might be a bit ambitious. But by the return leg next week, I promise you this. This whole nightmare will be over and Carl Fletcher will be free to win us a place in the next round of the UEFA Cup. Now, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So that's a promise.
Morning, James.
Morning.
Stevie, why aren't you in training?
Moral support.
You okay?
He's fine, aren't you, Carl?
Yeah.
Listen, can I have a moment with him alone? Just some club business. Just as I thought, Victoria hasn't breathed a word to the prosecution about the 100 grand you gave her.
How do you know?
Because they would have had to disclose it to our side by now. It's the law.
But she's still going to testify.
And it's her word against yours. You were ever in that room. James is going to rip her apart, Carl. We're going to win this.
Mr. Fletcher, would you like to walk this way, please?
I'm going to have to abandon you soon, I'm afraid. I've got a team to get on the plane to Italy.
Don't worry. He's in the best possible hands.
All rise.
Are you Carl Roderick Walter Fletcher of Savannah Barrons, Addison Park, Harchester?
Yes.
You are charged with murder. On the 12th of May 2001, you did murder Mr. Prashant Dattani. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You've seen him on Match of the Day, you've read about him in the gossip columns. What do you think? A fine athlete? A lovable rogue with a heart of gold? We're going to show you a very different Carl Fletcher. A desperately ambitious man with a violent and unpredictable nature which led him to murder. May the 12th was one of the biggest days in the Dragons' history, the day Champions League football came to Harchester. Only one man was not celebrating. A furious Mr. Fletcher was battering to death the man who had spent all day frustrating and disappointing him, his employer, Prashant Dattani.
Oh, Skipper, how was it? How'd you think?
I know how he feels. I've got this subpoena thing. I've got to give evidence this afternoon.
What's happening with Jamie? Anyone seen him?
No.
Someone's got to find him and convince him to get on that coach tomorrow morning. And then we've got to find ourselves a manager to manage us out of the shower of
You have a manager.
You've got to be joking.
After what he did?
I told you how it would be.
That was personal, this is business. You get on a coach tomorrow for Italy.
If I have to play for him after what he did to Jamie...
You're what? Grow up, Danny. You're under contract to play football for Harchester United, and I expect you to honour that contract to the letter. Same goes for all of you. I want you to play your heart out tomorrow night. And if you don't want to do it for me or for your fans, do it for Carl Fletcher. Give him something to come back to, yeah?
Dr. Packard, could you please tell the court your occupation and your relationship with the local police force in Harchester?
Yes, I'm a GP. I have a practice in Harchester, and I'm also retained as one of a number of duty doctors who assist the local force at crime scenes.
You were on duty on May the 12th, were you not?
That's right.
And will you tell us what happened at approximately 6:30 p.m?
Yes, I got a call on my mobile from Fawley Road Police Station. They asked me if I'd meet them at Harchester United Football Club.
And when you arrived, Dr. Packard, what did you find?
I found a man who was identified to me as Prashant Ditani lying on the floor of his office. I quickly established that he was dead. He'd been dead for anything from 10 minutes to half an hour.
Was there anything to suggest what the cause of death might have been?
Mr. Ditani had suffered a blow of some kind to his temple, just above the right eye, and another to the back of his head.
Andy will take training. All right, if you've got any instructions, I advise you give them through him.
Where are you going?
Find our goalkeeper. I think we're going to need him, don't you?
You're not going anywhere. You are training. That is not a request, that is an instruction.
Hexy, go wide! Hexy! Come to the line!
Hit the line, Pete, man.
Hit the...
Pull it back, keep it, keep the ball. Keep it.
Okay, Hille, hold the ball!
Hold it up!
Quick, cross! Cross, Dan! Cross! Cross the...
Get your cross in!
Oh, this is crazy, they're not listening to me. I will tell her I cannot do it. I do not know why I let her persuade me into managing this game.
Listen, let them have their 5 minutes of protest. They'll calm down.
They will have to, because if it is like this in Italy, then I don't fancy our chances.
If you're bringing me some message from my father, forget it. I've got nothing to say to him.
I wasn't. Where do you think you're going?
London, I suppose. Or maybe Cannes. I've got friends there who can help me get a job.
Not without giving me 4 weeks' notice, you know.
But I've been fired.
I'm sorry. I don't remember doing that.
I don't understand.
Listen, as long as I remain chief executive of Harchester United, no one, not even Sam Irvin, tells me who to hire and fire. Now, we have a murder trial and a UEFA Cup game in 36 hours. So why don't you get your skates on and get back into work? I need a PA.
Thanks for the offer, but no.
What?
This is about making a whole new start. I can't go back to filing and typing. I know I'm worth more than that.
Yeah, you're more like your father than you realise. OK. How about I make you executive assistant? I'll get somebody else to do all the boring filing and typing. But you have to make sure that they do it.
Deal.
What did the post-mortem tell you about the cause of death?
Prashant Datani died after a massive brain hemorrhage caused by 2 blows to his head. The first was a result of being struck with a blunt object just above the right eye, but it was the second, much deeper indentation to the back of his skull that killed him.
How did this second indentation occur?
The first blow caused Mr. Datani to fall backwards, fracturing his skull on the side of his desk. This fracture is what brought about the hemorrhage.
Thank you. No further questions.
It says in your post-mortem report that Mr. Ditani was suffering from a condition called eggshell skull. Can you explain what this is?
Yes, it's quite simple. In a person that suffers from this condition, the bones of the skull are much weaker than usual. Similar to, say, a boxer's glass jaw.
So is it fair to say, then, that if Mr. Ditani had not suffered from this condition, then the fall would not have caused his death?
Possibly, but the fact remains that he would not have fallen and died had he not been hit by someone with a heavy object.
How are you?
How
How would you expect me to be? My marriage is over, and it's all my fault.
Hey, it's never just one person's fault.
Everybody knows. It's all over the club. I can never go back there.
No one's talking about it. They understand, Tash.
Footballers understand. You are joking. He's gone, Linda. He won't talk. He's just holed up in a room at the Grange.
Is he still there?
Yeah. I've tried ringing and ringing, but he won't answer. Oh, of course. That's why you're here, isn't it? To find Jamie. And there's me thinking you were being nice.
No, Tash, I wanted to see you.
The show must go on now.
Are you giving evidence for the prosecution? Did he do it, Danny? Did he do it?
Just a couple of words, Danny.
Come on, Danny.
Come on, Danny.
You are Daniel Jonathan Ralston.
That's right.
Please read the words on the card.
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Relax, Mr. Ralston, I won't bite. Let me start by asking you how long you've known Mr. Fletcher.
3, maybe 4 years, ever since I signed for the club. In fact, my first year in the youth team, I used to clean his boots.
So you know him very well. Everyone agrees on his genius as a player, but does Mr. Fletcher have the makings of a good manager, in your opinion?
Stevie. Stevie. We cannot continue like this.
We should have thought of that before you slept with Tash.
Is this how it will be against Palmer? Every time I want to tell you anything, I have to run to the dugout to tell Andy? Now, we have a major game tomorrow. Can't we suspend the hostilities till after the match?
I don't know.
We have no other options. Otherwise, we may as well not bother going. Is that what you want, Stevie?
No. What exactly is it you want me to do?
We have 2 problems. Firstly, who do we play up front? Now, with no Fletch and no guarantee that my ankle will hold out, we're in a bad way. Also, who plays in goal? Now, the answer to the first problem may have to be Gary Peggs. Play him alongside Danny.
He won't cope, he's just a kid.
And that is where I need your help. Talk to him, Stevie. Build up his confidence.
And meanwhile, what are you going to be doing?
I will be making my peace with Jamie.
The pigs might fly, mate.
Mr. Fletcher's career as player-manager lasted just 1 day, is that correct?
Yeah.
Isn't it also correct that you were instrumental in getting rid of him as manager?
How do you mean?
Isn't it true that after just 1 training session with Mr. Fletcher in charge, you personally led a deputation to Mr. Wyatt, the previous manager, begging him to return?
Well, yeah.
You got your way, didn't you? Mr. Ditani demoted the defendant and gave Mr. Wyatt his old job back. How did Mr. Fletcher react?
Well, he was angry.
Where was this anger directed?
How do you mean?
To whom?
Well, Mr. Ditani, obviously.
What did Mr. Fletcher say?
I can't remember exactly. Called him names. I suppose he swore about him. He was furious.
Thank you, Mr. Ralston. No further questions.
I want a transfer.
You can't have one.
I'm the laughingstock of the whole club. I can't look at any of them in the eye.
Monday I'll be professional about the situation.
And sleeping with the player's wife, that's professional, isn't it?
No, of course it isn't. Look, I appreciate this must be unbearable for you, but I know Monday's very sorry.
Yeah, well, he might have told you that, but he still wants her.
That's not true. Tash is deeply upset.
Transfer Monday. I might think of coming back.
I'm not going to do that. In fact, I've made him manager.
Oh, it gets better.
He's the best man for the job at the moment.
Well, I hope you're very happy together.
And you're the best goalkeeper. You're the best we've got. You're the best in the league, Jamie. Look, you're one of my senior players. I rely on you in times like these. I can't do it without you.
There is no way I'm playing for him. You either get rid of him or me. And that's up to you. Goodbye.
Playing football is a stressful occupation, I would imagine. Have you seen the defendant lose his temper before?
Yeah, plenty of times. See, when we lose matches, we all get a bit fired up.
So you've seen him angry several times before. You've seen him upset several times before. Has he ever resorted to physical violence as a result of this anger?
No, never.
So, you would agree that Mr. Fletcher is not a violent man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Rawsthorne.
A couple more questions, Mr. Rawsthorne. Let me take you back to the night of Harchester United's Christmas party.
What?
I believe you attended.
Oh, yeah.
And at this party, did you witness an argument
This
between...
has no relevance to the case, Your Honour.
It goes to the witness's assessment of Mr. Fletcher's character, Your Honour.
I'll allow it. Carry on, Miss Harmon.
There was an altercation between your goalkeeper, Jamie Parker, and your coach, Monday Bandili. Is that correct? Ending in Mr. Parker being knocked unconscious.
Yeah, that's right.
How did Mr. Parker end up unconscious?
Mr. Rawsthorne.
Fletcher hit him.
Mr. Fletcher hit Mr. Parker. In spite of him not being involved in the disagreement, he just stepped in and knocked his teammate unconscious for no particular reason.
That's right.
Do you stand by the opinion you expressed just now that Mr. Fletcher is not a violent man?
Yeah, you're right. How'd you get on?
Badly. I made a complete mess of it.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, it was that prosecution woman. She kept, like, going on at me and twisting my words.
It's all right. Told the truth. That's all you can do, yeah? Do you want a cup of tea or something?
Yeah, I'd love them.
Yeah, give me one as well, will you, Pegs?
Yeah, me.
You're right, Pegsy. I'll get these. What are we doing later? Nothing. Good. I've got these videos I want you to watch. I'll come round to yours, yeah? Put that flash new video your sister to some good use. Yeah, all right. Milk, no sugar, ain't it? What, you're getting me tea? Of course.
Really getting to the search for a new manager. Brad.
What do you want?
We need to talk.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations on getting the job, by the way. Excuse me if I don't send you any flowers.
I wanted to play in the Parma game. I need you on that coach tomorrow night.
Really? So you take my wife to bed and then you think it'll be okay for me to turn up and play for you?
I know it is a bad situation.
Oh, bad? Is that what it is? You've ruined my marriage.
It was not just me. Tash deeply regrets this. She's genuinely upset.
And how do you know? Have you been sniffing round her again, have you?
It was not like that. I am trying to be professional.
Professional? There it is again. And what's so professional about having a player's wife?
Jamie, I am sorry it happened. I was so stupid. I should never have thought of betraying a friend. I have never done anything like this before, and I never will again. I will not see Tash anymore. It is you she wants, not me. It was one stupid night, and now it is over. All three of us, we just have to move on.
Do you really think that I can face my mates again? With every one of them knowing what you did with her? Just get out. Just get out.
Miss Welsh, you were personal assistant to Mr. Tatani at the time of his murder.
I was.
Please speak up, Miss Welsh.
Sorry, I was.
What did you hear that was unusual on the morning of May the 12th?
I heard angry voices coming from Mr. Tatani's office. Mr. Fletcher, was shouting at Mr. Tatani.
This was a few hours before Mr. Tatani was murdered. What was the argument about?
Mr. Fletcher was angry that he'd been made substitute for the game. He wanted Mr. Tatani to do something about it. Oh, and they were arguing about the manager's job.
What did you hear about the manager's job?
I heard Mr. Tatani tell Fletch that the job would be his after the game. He said he needed Ray Wyatt to manage this one match, then the job would be his permanently.
Thank you, Miss Welsh. What you told us is very important.
OK, you ready for this one?
The Charlton game.
I don't need to watch that one, do I?
Look, you'll never improve unless you watch yourself in action and see how other people play around you. And look, you look like a startled rabbit. But here's across to Bandili. Look, you didn't even give him a chance of that ball.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's all right. But Bandili made it look like a better ball.
Yeah, okay.
Now this is the ball. Now look, you got the skills, but you lack confidence. Like, I know it's hard to believe, but when I first started, I was terrified of the other players. But the first time I stood up to a challenge, the other guy backed off. And that's what you got to do, stand your ground. Play your game, not the other fellas. You believe in yourself, and you'll be an asset to this club.
If you call back in an hour, she'll be able to deal with the matter. Thanks, bye-bye. Linda told me you were coming back. What happened?
It's a long story.
Well, I'm glad to see you. Zoe's off ill. We've got all the team stuff to get sorted for tomorrow, as well as all Linda's stuff.
I'm making a whole fresh start. See?
Your dad took your credit cards.
I didn't give him the satisfaction. I cut them up myself. Standing on my own 2 feet now.
Where are you staying?
Still at the Grange.
How will you pay for that?
Linda Block's office.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Irving. I'll just put you through. Mr. Irving for you, Linda. So, how do you propose working for the chief exec when you won't even take calls from the man who owns the club?
We see here a conversation between the witness and Mr. Ray Wyatt. What was the conversation about, Mr. Answer?
I can't remember word for word.
I have here a sworn statement by Mr. Ray Wyatt, the Harchester manager at the time of Mr. Datani's death. In it, Mr. Ray Wyatt states that the conversation we have just seen take place consisted of Mr. Wyatt telling you that he had been offered a 5-year deal to stay on as manager just that morning by Mr. Datani.
Yeah, that's about it.
And Carl Fletcher clearly overheard this conversation.
I suppose so.
He believed he'd been offered that job. How do you think that made him feel?
Your Honour!
You don't have to answer that question, Miss Hammond. May I remind you, we're not in the business of speculating over people's feelings. Kindly stick to the point.
Yeah, OK. Thank you, Sam. Bye. Well?
Jamie won't listen to me. He threw me out.
Well, I suppose it was a bit of a long shot.
You know, I really think you need to get another manager. I cannot do this.
I don't need to hear this Monday.
If I am managing, he won't play.
There is another way.
Which is what?
Tash still loves him, right? I know it's hard for you, but she does, yeah?
Yes.
So we're still in with the chance. It's only a minuscule one, but we're in with the chance. OK, Monday, you go home. I'll sort this out.
Oh, it's you. What's wrong? Can't find him.
Bought you some food. Bet you haven't eaten. Come on, Tash, just give me 5 minutes. I'm only trying to help. Thank you. Tash. If Jamie doesn't get on that coach tomorrow, we're going to be out of the UEFA Cup for sure.
And what's this got to do with me?
I need you to speak to him.
Are you mad? I'm the last person he's going to want to see.
I know it'll be difficult, but it's the only way.
Oh, I see. So you've all had a go and he said no, so now you want me to try. Well, no thanks. You can sort your own problem out.
Listen, we wouldn't have a problem if you hadn't have...
Slept with Monday. Thanks for reminding me.
OK. I'm sorry. Tash, if you still love him, and I think you do, then you're going to want to help him.
I'd like to turn to the second half of the game, when Carl Fletcher was brought on. He only played for about 10 minutes and was then substituted. What would you say was Fletcher's reaction to that decision?
Unhappy.
Run Exhibit JP3. Watch Mr. Fletcher for me, will you, Mr. Answer? You were near enough to him. What did he say, Mr. Answer? Mr. Answer, we've had the tape analysed by a lip-reading expert. If you'd rather I read that out.
He said, this is all your fault, Datani.
This is all your fault, Datani. Mr. Fletcher screams those words angrily up at the director's box 20 minutes before Mr. Datani was found dead. No further questions.
I think this is a good place to stop for today. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning with Mr. Bryant's cross-examination of this witness. Court adjourned.
All rise.
Hi, Nicky. How you doing?
Right, thanks. What's all this then?
Oh, Stevie's just giving me a bit of advice.
Stevie the teacher, that's a new one.
Well, you know. Look, why don't we put up for a bite to eat later? The three of us.
That's it from the car. Hi, Stevie. Where would you like these?
I'll just stick them in the kitchen.
What's she doing here? Ran out of marriages to wreck, is she? In fact, you know what? Me and Pegsy got to go out. Come on, mate.
Well, we could all go out for dinner.
No, you're right. We still have a manager, wasn't for her. Some other time, maybe.
Oh, please, just go away.
Jamie, it's me. Can you let me in, please?
Tash, I said, go away.
I'm not going anywhere until you open the door. Please.
What do you want?
You look terrible.
Well, I am, thanks to you.
Jamie.
So, have you come round here to try and persuade me to go to Palmer? Well, it has to be, doesn't it? Because I've had Linda Block round here and our friend Monday Bandeely. So all that's left is you. Well, Tash, you can save your breath, because I'm not going.
Why not? To get back at me? Well, fine, go ahead. But if you carry on like this, you're going to end up with a reputation like Van Hooydonk and no one will want you. Is that what you want? Look, if you want to go to another club, then fine, OK, I'll get Dad to sort out the best deal he can. But you can only do that if you're playing. If you keep hiding away, then who's going to take a chance on you? No one.
Have you finished?
Look, I might have ruined our marriage, but I'm not letting you ruin your career.
Just get out.
I still love you, Jamie. How did we ever get to this?
From you being a slag, that's how.
Witnesses, including Harchester United stars, told the court Fletcher had a vendetta with chairman Prashant Dattani and was in a violent mood. The court was told that Fletcher, who denies the charges against him, was substituted on the day of the murder after being sacked as player-manager after just 1 day in charge.
What are you watching this for? It's going to make you feel worse.
That prosecution person doing the business for him. I started believing I'd done it.
They haven't even heard our side yet. Come on, Jim's confident and so should you be. You've got a strong case, Carl. Don't give up on yourself yet.
Why not? They're going to find me guilty anyway.
No, they're not. Right, I can't have you sitting around here brooding. We're going out.
What?
When was the last time you did some exercise?
What are you on about?
You'll see. Hello, Stevie. It's Linda. I need your help.
Right, boys. You okay? Yeah.
Look, about that courtroom stuff.
Look, don't worry about it. You did nothing wrong, all right? I don't want to hear nothing about courts or trials. Let's just play some football, all right?
You got a great car. Yeah, what's wrong with it today? I used to have one too, baby. Oh, come and have a look. I really love your hairdo, yeah. Welcome over to my work. I'll have a cook you something that you really love. 'Cause I like you, yeah, I like you. And I feel, whoa,
Which one's the prawn biryani?
I'm not hungry.
You know, I spent my whole day bringing food to people who won't eat it and just want me to leave. Do you want me to go?
No. Please. I just don't want to be on my own right now, that's all.
Okay.
You know that one night that I spent in the Nick before the Mallorca game? I never really liked small spaces anyway. But that cell, it felt like it was closing in on me. And I couldn't breathe. And I kept thinking, if I had to do this night after night for years on end, if I go down for this, I won't hack it. I'll be dead within a month, Linda. That's why I gave the money to Victoria.
I understand.
You've always been there for me. Through it all. You believe in me when no one else does.
You know, when you first came to Harchester, I thought you were a nasty bit of work. The drink, the women, the bad boy behaviour. Then I saw you play. And you know when someone does something they love, that's when you see the real person. The Carl Fletcher I see on the pitch has grace and passion, commitment, and a whole lot of courage. And I know he could never kill anyone.
Datani deserved to die. Surely you of all people should know.
No, no one deserves to die, Carl. Anyway, let's not talk about this. We really shouldn't.
You remember that time when me and Louise bet our cards on who would bed you first? I know it was a cheap trick. But you were the most beautiful woman I ever seen. You still are. What is this? Time to come for poor old Carl. Are you sure about this, Linda?
Trembling down to my knees. I've got to leave the world behind me.
Don't go.
It wouldn't be good for Steve to wake up and find me here now, would it?
It's Victoria today.
I know. Don't panic. It's her word against yours, and I know who I'd rather believe. Listen, I'll stay in court all day with you, if you want me to. Claudia can manage to get the boys onto a plane. They're going to miss you in Italy.
Last night.
Was special.
But we hardly love's young dream, are we?
No.
So it's just a sympathy thing then.
Carl, why do you always have to be so hard on yourself? I care about you. I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you later, yeah?
Shall I take my swimming trunks? The hotel must have a pool.
Don't you have time?
My passport? I bet you thought I'd forgotten that.
You're amazingly calm. I thought you'd be pacing the floor at 3 in the morning like you were before the Charlton game.
Nah, this is different. It's like we're all in it together. Listen, the skipper's a really good bloke. You know, if you and him, I really wouldn't mind, seriously.
There is no me and Stevie Gary, we're just friends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, go and put the kettle on. Don't give her the satisfaction.
Sleep well?
Yeah, thanks.
Good. You look better for it. Well, I think we got the worst of it over yesterday. It should be plain sailing from here on in. As soon as I get Miss Baptiste into the witness box. Shall we?
Okay, we'll finish this match, then call it a day.
When's the press call?
2. Then we'll go straight to the airport.
Hey! Hey! Hey, well, if you can't take it, don't give it out!
You are Dr. Christensen, consultant haematologist at Harchester Royal Infirmary, is that correct?
It is.
What can you tell us about the tests done on Mr. Fletcher's tracksuit?
We took away articles of clothing worn by Mr. Fletcher and found dry blood on his tracksuit trousers. The sample exactly matched that of Prashant Dattani.
You found Dattani's blood on Mr. Fletcher's tracksuit. What chances are there of this test being inaccurate?
None at all. It was definitely the victim's blood on the defendant's tracksuit trousers.
Look, Alex, I apologize for the indecision, but if Jamie does turn up, then you will be on the bench. That is looking less likely by the minute.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Pegsy will give you some extra shot practice, okay? Okay. Well done this morning. You are making big improvements. Now listen, I probably won't start you, but you are definitely in my plans. And I don't just mean making the tea this time around. Now you give Alex a good workout, okay? I'm relying on both of you.
My learned friend has painted a rather lurid picture which the facts don't substantiate. How much blood was on the tracksuit?
Not a huge amount.
How much?
A smear.
Oh, a smear. We were led to believe that Mr. Fletcher was covered head to toe in blood, but you say a smear. How big is this smear? The size of a thumbnail?
Smaller.
Smaller than a thumbnail. And how could this smear have got onto my client's tracksuit?
Well, in many ways.
Where were the tracksuit trousers when they came into contact with the blood?
We have no way of telling.
So the fact that Dattani's blood is on these trousers in no way proves that Mr. Fletcher was at the scene of the crime.
No.
The blood could have got onto them anywhere. Timbuktu. The smear could have been planted on the trousers to frame my client anywhere in the world.
I object, Your Honour.
We get the point, Mr. Brand.
What evidence do you have that my client was wearing the trousers when they were contaminated?
We have no proof.
Or what tests did you perform to see who else had worn the trousers?
We did no tests.
You did no tests? Thank you. No further questions.
I take it this means you're here to play? You're coming to Italy?
It's typical of you, getting my wife to do your dirty work.
That was not my idea. I have not spoken to Dash.
Get this clear. I'm not here for you or for her. I'll play just so I can get myself transferred away from this poxy club. And as long as I'm here, these are my conditions. You will never speak to my wife again. You will never see her again. You and I will only talk about football matters. And as soon as they get me a decent offer, you will release me. OK?
OK, it's a deal.
Well, you know where you can stick that.
Call Victoria Baptiste.
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Miss Baptiste, when did you see Carl Fletcher during the afternoon leading up to Mr. Dottani's murder?
I saw him twice. The first time was when he came into the stands to confront Dottani.
This was during the first half of the match. What were they arguing about?
About the manager's job. Carl said he'd overheard Ray Wyatt saying Dottani had offered him a 5-year contract.
What did Mr. Dottani reply?
He admitted to Carl that he never had any real intention of giving him the job. He was very cruel and sarcastic to him.
How would you describe Mr. Fletcher's reaction?
I think seething is a pretty good word.
When did you see Mr. Fletcher next?
About 6 o'clock.
Where was that?
In Prash's office.
What was Mr. Fletcher doing?
I could see something was very wrong. Prash was lying on the floor, not moving. Fletcher was leaning over him. Then I realised that Prash was dead.
Tash, tell us why you're here.
I'm here to lend Fletcher my support. That man wouldn't hurt a fly, and I just hope by the time his teammates are back from Italy that this whole thing will be over and he'll be a free man.
What did I tell you? Now James has got rid of the bloodstained tracksuit. It's just Victoria's word against yours. And I wouldn't give much for her chances once he gets stuck in. Just think this whole thing could be over by this evening. I wonder if we could get you on a plane to Italy.
Whoa, slow down. Nice t-shirt.
Come to lend my support. Was that cow done her bit yet?
Halfway through. They just called lunch. You gonna join us?
Yeah. Just fed up of staring at the walls, thinking about my own problems.
This whole thing should be over by this evening.
Monday, 3rd round of the UEFA Cup for your first game in charge. It's a tough challenge.
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have the support of a United team.
Will you miss Fletch in Italy?
Well, of course we miss a player of such great ability. But we have a quality team and a superb spirit. I'd just like to say to Carl Fletcher, good luck. My thoughts are with you.
This woman, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the only witness to claim to have seen Carl Fletcher at the scene of the crime, likes telling stories and getting paid for it.
Your Honour, I must object.
I mean, she ran her own PR business, where I believe you sold the story of your own divorce, didn't you?
This has nothing to do with Prash's murder.
You had a relationship with Prashant Dottani yourself. How long before he died did that relationship finish?
A few days.
And what were your feelings towards each other on the day he died?
We were not friendly.
You were vengeful and irrational.
Your Honour!
I'm simply trying to establish whether this crucial witness, who the prosecution claim is key to their case, is reliable. Miss Baptiste, you're an alcoholic, aren't you?
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Recovering. What amount of alcohol did you drink on the day that Dottani died?
I don't know.
Well, a glass of wine, a bottle, more?
I should imagine it was more than a bottle.
And how would you react if I told you that several witnesses have stated that you were extremely inebriated and groping total strangers?
I would say it has nothing to do with me seeing a murderer.
You see, the question that most concerns me is, how can we believe the word of an alcoholic who herself had violent intentions towards the victim?
We better get going.
Yes.
Just give your best shot, Monday. That's all anyone can expect of you. And the lads will give you everything you ask for.
I know. Stevie, thank you.
Just doing my job. Gaffer.
As true as I'm standing here, I saw him.
Perhaps he was seeing double.
I saw him, and he knows I saw him.
You're asking us to take your word for it. The word of an alcoholic who peddled her own life story to the tabloids. How can we trust you? You slept with both the defendant and the deceased. You lied and cheated.
Mr. Brown.
And on the day of the crime, you were so drunk you could hardly stand up.
If I'm lying, why would Carl Fletcher have paid me money not to turn up here today?
What did you say?
He tried to bribe me into not giving evidence. And he tried to have me killed when I told him that I would.
Goodness.
Jamie Parker helped him. And so did she.
Oh, my God, no.
Do you honestly expect this court to believe?
It's the truth. Every word of it. I've got a videotape to prove it.
Order! Order in court!
Coming soon on Dream Team.
No, she blackmailed me.
Oh, come on, you don't expect us to believe that.
She told me she'd make up a pack of lies in court if it didn't pay her off.
Harchester United have joined forces with their supporters in a touching bid to have Carl Fletcher released tomorrow night to play in the Dragons' vital UEFA Cup tie against Parma.
How do you find the defendant? Guilty or not guilty?